Beyond the Gates spoilers for Tuesday, July 15th indicate that Bradley Smitty C. Smith will hit his limit with a situation, while Detective Marcel Malone is placed on a shady assignment, and Naomi Hawthorne will be completely caught off guard. The July 15th episode will prove to be an explosive one, so let's start talking about the bombshells that are about to drop in the land of Fairmont Crest. Poor Smitty will still likely be reeling from what happened during the Monday, July 14th show. During the episode, he learned that Martin Richardson hit a man in the park in front of Samantha Richardson. While he may understand the reasoning why, stranger danger and all, he also knows this is all linked to whatever Martin is desperately trying to keep under wraps. After all, apparently, getting this violent is completely out of Martin's character. Smitty has been begging his husband to come clean on the secret he's been hiding. Unfortunately, Martin is still staying tight. Whatever revelations Smitty learns about during the July 15th episode may bring him to the edge. Is this the end of Martin and Smitty as BTG fans know them? It sounds as if Smitty will be done with all the secrecy and his husband's antics too. Speaking of the deep, dark secret Martin is holding, in an interesting twist, Joey Armstrong will have an assignment for Marcel Malone on Tuesday. Will the cop be the one to finally get rid of the Kenny problem? There was a lot of talk about Martin ending all this during the July 14th episode, but it seems hard to believe that Vernon Dupree would sit back and allow this to happen. Vernon may take matters into his own hands by reaching out to Joey, and in turn, the casino owner could send orders to Malone. Only time will tell. Across town, BTG spoilers reveal that Naomi could be in for a shock where June's past is concerned. It looks like Naomi will get some information and try to dig deeper into things. But what will she end up finding? Some viewers seem to feel as if June and her history are somehow linked to someone in Fairmont Crest, and it's hard not to shake that she may be a long-lost relative of the Duprees. Then again, perhaps one of her parents worked for the family, which is why she's in the predicament she's in. Beyond the Gates spoilers suggest considering all the skeletons the Duprees have in their closet. Anything is possible. Well, isn't this a familiar scene? Monday's episode begins with Martin discovering Kenneth creeping up on one of his children at the park. Flying into a blind rage, Martin immediately punches Kenneth in the face, leaving him with a bloody lip. As a panicked Samantha pleads for answers, Kenneth cockily reminds the congressman that he did nothing wrong, dropping this incredibly creepy line. "I didn't do a thing." "I didn't touch a hair on that precious head or put a finger on that beautiful brown skin." In other words, Martin is in the wrong for assaulting an innocent man, even if innocent is a relative term here. At home, Samantha demands answers about Kenny, including why Martin considers him so dangerous. Smitty walks through the door just in time to echo Samantha's concerns. It's time for Martin to start talking. Smitty is horrified to hear that Martin attacked Kenneth at the park, then says he knows all about the private security Martin hired. "You'd be surprised what I know," he says, adding that Martin is lucky Smitty isn't the kind of husband who gives ultimatums. "Like if you walk out that door, don't bother coming back," he threatens. Martin remains unmoved, telling him, "I need to do this. I need to do it my way, and I need you to understand that and be here when it's all over. The only way I walk out of that door is to know that you'll still be here loving me when I get back. Smitty, I love you so much, but I got to go." And with that, he's out. Samantha apologizes for talking to Kenneth at the park, saying that she should have known better after all of the lessons she's heard about avoiding strangers. She recognized him as the man Tyrell was playing chess with, and Smitty realizes that that's why Martin called the police for additional protection. Smitty also apologizes to Samantha that she had to hear him threaten to leave Martin, even if he's not sorry that he said it. Haley returns home from her totally not fake follow-up exam, informing Bill that she's both glowing and growing. Routine cramping caused by stress is the alleged diagnosis for her recent emergency. Bill is thrilled by this news, but their celebration is cut short by the arrival of a very angry Vernon Dupree. "Who the hell do you think you are summoning me?" Vernon asks as he storms into the living room. "And what's so damn urgent?" Haley assumes he's there to talk about Danny, but Bill says they have a long-standing legal matter that needs to be discussed. Once his wife is gone, Bill tells Vernon everything, including that Joey changed the plan, instructing Randy to kill Kenneth, a mission he did not accomplish. Vernon is horrified to hear about this murder plot, but Bill calls BS on that. "I'm the one who has to swallow your sins so you can sleep at night," Bill reminds him. "I carry the weight so you don't have to, and now you act like you're so disgusted? Get out of here with that." Bill says he can't argue with Joey's logic, and he doesn't see another way out of this mess. Vernon says that by allowing Kenneth to live, the universe saved them all from an act they would have regretted for the rest of their lives. "Everybody has a price," Vernon says. "We probably just didn't match Kenny's number. Bite! I'm calling my accountant." Vernon also calls Anita, leaving her a voicemail to express how much he misses her. "I'm lost without you, and as thrilled as I am that you're getting this chance to make a comeback, it'll be a mighty good day when you come back home to me," he says. Ashley bumps into Jacob at Orphe Jean's, where he apologizes for not reaching out sooner. He swears he wasn't choosing sides, and he's shocked to hear that Derek went out with Shanice. He figured that Ashley would have been the first person to start dating again. And he's not wrong, nor is he surprised to hear that Ashley went out with Andre. Ashley then brings up a mystery she's been trying to solve. She knows the truth about something, and she's trying to figure out why this unnamed person would be doing this. Jacob says it's likely that this person told one lie, then told more to cover that one up. And now their lies are just snowballing. Just like that, Haley walks into the diner and loudly orders an enormous meal to satisfy her pregnancy cravings. "You're having food cravings already?" Ashley asks. "Isn't that a second trimester thing?" Haley says her baby must be a prodigy, but Ashley, the one with actual medical training, reminds her that it doesn't work that way. Incorrectly sensing a friend in Ashley, Haley joins her in her booth, thanking her for being so kind. But Ashley isn't about to let Haley off the hook, making it clear that they're far from friends again. "That was a long time ago, before you chose Bill as the center of your universe and left us out in the cold," she says. "That's your friend's dad. That's family. Some people are off limits." Ashley accuses Haley of planning her pregnancy as a means to cement her new life with Bill, to which Haley replies that not every relationship can move at a snail's pace like hers and Derek's. She also says that Ashley deserves to be with someone who truly makes her happy, which is nice. Over at Uptown, Chelsea is still grilling Allison about why she's been following her, though Allison insists she's doing no such thing. "Uptown is merely one of the best restaurants in town," Allison says, "so where else is she supposed to go for dinner?" Allison also makes herself seem cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs by reminding Chelsea of their hot nights together, then accusing her of making so many bad choices in so many different areas of her life lately, including breaking up with her. Allison eventually slinks away, but not before offering to assist Chelsea with anything on or off the menu. With Allison seated just a few tables away, Madison and Chelsea discuss what in the actual hell just happened. Chelsea promises she doesn't have a weird superpower that turns women crazy, but Madison can't get over how twisted Allison's behavior was. Chelsea decides the best way to prove their strength is to show Allison how together they are, making out right in front of her. Crazy Allison returns to their table, pulling out a hair clip Chelsea left at her place the last time they were together. Recalling their loud sex that night, Allison says she's surprised no one called the cops on them. "Don't worry, I have them on speed dial," Chelsea says. "You should," Allison replies. "You never know who's lurking in the shadows." As if that isn't creepy enough, Allison also mentions all of the memories she has with Chelsea, specifically mentioning that there are no videos. Could there be videos? The last thing the Dupree family needs is a sex tape scandal. Martin shows up at Bill's, furious that Kenneth has been allowed to run amok all over Fairmont Crest. Martin says Bill has been slipping ever since he married Haley and had his stroke, and Vernon is preoccupied with Anita out of town. So it's time for Martin to be in charge. "If you want something done, you have to do it your damn self," Martin says, adding that he would love to see this guy dead. Bill suggests that Martin should talk to Smitty about this, but Martin says he can't admit such a dark desire out loud to his husband. Martin takes off to find Kenneth, saying, "It's time for him to see the man that he's made me to be." Martin hightails it to Orphe Jean's, where he places an extremely desperate phone call, telling someone to meet him so they can take care of Kenneth. Immediately. Smitty, meanwhile, summons Jacob to update him on the situation. Jacob is stunned to hear that Tyrell and Samantha are being stalked, and he tells Smitty to forgive himself for giving Martin an ultimatum. Given the stressful situation they're all in, extreme behavior is to be expected. He just needs to remember how much he loves Martin. And if someone is stalking their family, Smitty needs to find out why, and if it has anything to do with Malone. Beyond the Gates spoilers suggest the CBS soap released its preview for the week of July 14th to 18th, and it looks like another 5 explosive days in the land of Fairmont Crest. Vernon Dupree unleashes his fury, while Bradley Smitty Smith will issue an ultimatum. Plus, Naomi Hamilton has some questions. Find out more about what's set to unravel on the new CBS soap below. Beyond the Gates promo for the week of July 14 to 18 opens with Vernon lashing out at Bill Hamilton. He'll storm into his ex-son-in-law's house while he and his wife, Haley Hamilton, are sharing a moment. Haley is on his lap as Vernon walks in unannounced, angrily questioning who Bill thinks he is by summoning someone like him, while Dupree adds, "What's so damn urgent?" The scenes shift rather quickly, as a clip reveals Danny Dupree seemingly trying to calm a worried Bill as he notes, "One Dupree is enough," going on to say he's met his quota. Bill's ex-wife retorts, "Daddy really got under your skin tonight." Will Bill inform Vernon that Kenneth was not taken care of and he's now stalking Martin Richardson's family? Randy Parker failed to shoot Kenny, which was technically supposed to be overseen by Bill. How bad will Vernon take the news, and will he feel as if Bill is to blame? Once again. Speaking of, the next clip of the BTG promo reveals a scene between Smitty and Martin in their home, and things are tense. As Samantha Richardson lingers in the background, a highly emotional Smitty states, "It's a good thing I'm not the type of man who gives ultimatums. Like if you walk out that door, don't bother coming back." Martin will be at the door, looking worried, as she stops from leaving. Will Martin end up walking through the door, or finally answering his husband's questions? Are these two on the verge of a breakup? The last scene of this promo shows a clip where Jacob Hawthorne and Naomi Richardson are locked in a serious conversation. Naomi wonders why Martin would ask for protection from the crooked cop that Smitty is investigating. This is when Jacob answers, "If you ask me, something weird is going on." There is definitely something weird going on, but little does Jacob know, his father, Elon Hawthorne, is involved in this mess as well. Are you excited about the week of July 14th to 18? Comment below. Check out the popular CBS Soap Daily for your dose of Fairmont Crest drama, and visit CTS often for the most up-to-date Beyond the Gates news and spoilers. The Beyond the Gates What to Watch moments for Tuesday, July 15th, 2025, tease danger, excitement, and mystery. Naomi finds out more about June's past. Joey sends Marcel on a dangerous mission. Meanwhile, Smitty will continue to take as much action as he can, but will it be worth it? Naomi is still investigating June's past. She wants to learn more about June because she's intrigued by this woman and her connection to the gated community. She might finally get one step closer to learning the tea into June's life. During Tuesday's episode, Naomi will get a lead. Will she finally find out more information about June? This strange woman has been keeping most of her story close to her heart. She's also been clutching a picture of a group of people. Are these people her family? What will Naomi find out about June? And how will she use this information to help her? Joey will send Marcel on a dangerous assignment. Will this be more than he bargained for? Marcel clearly loves his profession, even if it comes with a side of danger. But how much is too much? Will Marcel reach his breaking point? We love that BTG is declaring summer as the season of mystery. All of these stories are unfolding at the same time. Meanwhile, Smitty will continue to take matters into his own hands. He's been doing whatever he can. However, this latest move could harm his family. Smitty's concern is keeping his family safe. What is Smitty planning to do now? And how will this decision affect his family? Here are your spoilers for Beyond the Gates. On Tuesday, July 15, 2025, having a cop on the payroll is quite a handy tool for a shady mobster like Joey Armstrong, and in Tuesday's episode, Joey sends Marcel on a dangerous assignment. Marcel has one assignment to protect Martin and his family from the threat of Kenneth, and Joey will have a more permanent solution in mind. Will Joey keep his word about letting Randy go? Or will he have Marcel track him down once more? We are getting closer and closer to finding out exactly what happened 2 years ago with Martin. June has been put into the hospital again, this time following an assault that we don't know much about at this stage. While June slept, Naomi took the photo that June treasures, the one of the 2 little kids, and noticed that there was a phone number at the bottom. When Naomi rang the number, someone picked up, and when they were told that Naomi was calling in regards to June, the person on the other end hung up. In Tuesday's episode, Naomi follows a lead into June's past. Someone wasn't too happy to be hearing about June, but Naomi will not give up. The curiosity about the identity of the 2 kids in the photo and June's backstory is too much to resist. Smitty is struggling. The more he uncovers about Marcel and the link to Vernon, the more his husband, Martin, dodges questions. The latest info was too much. Jacob took a call from the station and told Smitty that it was about Martin asking for police protection. Smitty freaked. Why was protection needed for his family, and why wasn't he told about it? Smitty left immediately to find answers. In Tuesday's episode, Smitty takes matters into his own hands where his family is concerned. Martin needs to talk to Smitty before this gets really out of control and jeopardizes their marriage. The action in the Beyond the Gates spoilers preview video for the week of the July 14th opens at the Dupree home as Vernon arrives to find Haley and Bill waiting for him. "Who the hell do you think you are summoning me? And what's so damned urgent?" Vernon asks the man whom he only barely tolerates, ever since he divorced Vernon's daughter, Danny. The scene switches to the Fairmont Crest Country Club, but the focus still remains on Bill, who is sitting at the bar talking with his ex-wife, Danny. "One Dupree is enough. You know, I've met my read for filth quota." Danny leans in as she notes, "Daddy really got under your skin tonight." No one can read Bill like Danny, that's for sure. But is she right this time? Samantha watches as Smitty confronts his husband Martin after growing tired of the evasive runaround Martin has been giving him for months about whatever is haunting him. "It's a good thing that I'm not the type of man who gives ultimatums. Like, if you walk out of that door, don't bother coming back," Smitty says. The look of shock on Martin's face says it all. The scene switches to Jacob and Naomi's home, where Jacob is sitting on the bed, talking with Naomi, who sits across from him in a chair. "Martin wants protection from the crooked cop that his own husband is investigating?" she asks, trying to work out the details in her mind about the story her husband has just updated her about. "Look, if you ask me, something weird is going on," he confides. See it all for yourself in the preview video below. Let us know what you think is going to happen in the comments section, and be sure to check out our first look gallery for a sneak peek at what's happening on all the soaps this week, including BTG. Are y'all ready to go beyond the gates? This week, Haley crossed paths with Leslie for the first time, while Ashley was cruising for a bruisin' and the fussin' and fightin' on the articulets put their reunion show in danger again. Elsewhere, the not-dead Kenneth kept things hoppin', and Martin bringing in Marcel, off all people, for protection had Smitty on the warpath. Oh. And note to all higher-ups involved with this show, no more preemptions, okay? Let's fill up those 2 scoops and find out what happened inside and outside the gates of Fairmont Crest. As we are 88 episodes in, and we haven't seen hide nor hair of a Febreze bottle or a laundry basket festooned with Tide since June 10th, it would seem my product placement watches are now obsolete. I'm going to guess Gates emphasizing this P&G merch was just an experiment that they, hopefully, have decided didn't work. We get enough commercials without in-universe commercials. Another issue I'm going to take with whoever came up with it was the choice to rerun this show's first 5 episodes week before this one, just when things were getting really good. After the expected March Madness and 2 unexpected soccer socket to me, last week's blackout was the 4th interruption since the soap started, and the longest. It just wasn't necessary. All right, maybe the lure was to show people how Gates began, but they can watch those first EPs on Paramount+. Even though the show has already been renewed for a 2nd season, and Entertainment Weekly has ranked it in its top 25 shows of 2025, it's called Momentum, and these stops and starts are killing it. Not to mention creating confusion. Don't do to this show what you're not doing to the other shows. It's not fair, and Gates is too good to deserve these too often hiatuses. Now, let's talk about Leslie. Look at our girl randomly having a chat with Haley, if you can believe that. I love that, nearly 5 months in, we're still getting new combinations of characters and scenes. Our Ms. Thomas told our Mrs. Hamilton that they had buku in common since they're both town pariahs. But Haley wasn't about Leslie's suggestion that they rain hell on the Duprees. Good for you, girl. Tantalizing idea. But Haley's gonna be in enough hot water with Bill when she proves Danny right, doing this fake pregnancy thing. But more on that later. Nicole might be a shrink, but by the time Leslie was done with her, Dr. R was ready to shrink Leslie's esophagus. Oh, Nicole got a few good ones in when she ran into Ted's long-ago mistress at Orphe Jeans, sassing that perhaps Leslie had so many murder victims she couldn't remember trying to off Laura gold. But Leslie couldn't help taunting Nicole about her sexcapades with Ted, rubbing it in that Ted was rubbing it with her while Nicole was home boo-hooing over her miscarriages. Well, Nicole had enough and charged at the homewrecker, doing her best to wreck Leslie's trachea. Ted got there in time to stop his estranged wife from committing murder, and Leslie had a diner full of witnesses. Whoops! Let's backtrack a minute. Didn't Nicole promise Laura she was going to be the one to discover who poisoned her? And didn't Nicole make a thing out of joining Kat and Mona in their search for evidence against Leslie? Nicky Nick hasn't done squatola to follow up on any of that. Instead, she snubs Ted while taking no action to divorce him and whines over Danny's hot and heavy with Andre. Let's see Nicole freshen up her role, or Emma bring out her Febreze myself. Back at Ted's clinic, I'd thought that Kat had actually affected a sweet moment when, while training Eva, she told her new half-sister that she was going to make Eva look good, if only so Ted wouldn't blame Kat for sabotaging her. So what did Kat go and do? Sabotage Eva! She made sure that Eva neglected to renew a vital certificate, but didn't she bring her own scenario into being? Because Ted did think Kat had something to do with Eva's error. Eva saw through it right away as well and got into another verbal scuffle with Kitty Cat, telling the brat that she might just resort to her crazy mama's methods to get back at her. Wouldn't that be delicious? Kat does rather have it coming, and while Eva's on a redemption tour right now, it would be interesting to see just what she's picked up from Leslie's larcenous example over the years. But can we just talk about the latest psyche with Leslie's case? First, they couldn't ascertain she was on the hospital security video. Then her jacket stuffed with on the evening receipts wasn't enough. Then there was a 97.5% match of Leslie's DNA, but that didn't cut it. Now the scratch on Leslie's helmet was verified to be on the helmet the motorcyclist who ran Laura off the road wore, and it's still not enough proof. No wonder Kat was torqued. We've had one too many fake-outs with this story now. It's time to bring Leslie up on charges. It's okay to put her in jail. She doesn't need to be written off. We can do a story with how she handles being behind bars. And imagine the juicy court case. You can only stretch out a story arc so long, and we've reached this one's expiration date. Let's move this along. Oh, Ashley, you might have an IQ high enough to get into medicine, but your EQ is dropping by the day. She was the one who quit her relationship with Derek because she spent her days thirsting for Andre. But the second Ashley saw Derek out with someone else, in this case the lovely Shanice, Ashley went into a full third-grade pout. Her snarkiness continued into the next day when she chucked a tablet toward Shanice and gave her attitude all over the room. Ash, you do know Shanice is your boss, right? Although I don't know why Shanice was having Derek do PT exercises right there at the station instead of, in a proper treatment space. Y'all tried it, but that was silly. Plus, Ashley mouthing off to her supervisor, telling her to shut up about her personal life, is gonna get her fired. I hope it happens. I've been wanting a story where Ashley has to wait tables at Joey's casino to make ends meet, then becomes a croupier on her way to going to the dark side working in Joey's escort service. Ashley needs something more interesting to do, and Jen Jacob would play the hell out of it. Surely that would be more gratifying as an actor than personifying a character with less maturity than the show's teens. At least Ashley's still a good nurse, and her red flags popped out when Haley arrived for a maternity follow-up, making noise about the positive results of her previous ultrasound. The one Ashley knows Haley didn't have. This would be a fun story for Ash to get pulled into, especially if she becomes an unwitting pawn in Haley's scheme. Ash will have plenty of time, because this thing with Andre ain't going nowhere. As soon as Danny sauntered in, tempered her one moment of rage, and insinuated herself into Andre's date with Ashley, with the lovers talking in code about the bumps in their relationship, it was game over. It was like Ashley wasn't even in the room. This was proven in the following episode when Dandre's spat over Ash ended in bed, with Danny grinning that she had staked her claim. Ashley who? Girl bye, as the kids say. Danny had some other interesting moments in the past week. One where she baked a sweet potato pie as a peace offering to the Hamiltons, only to have both Haley and Bill separately demand an apology from Danny for putting Haley's pregnancy at risk. I understand why Danny was peeved. It's not like she punched Haley in the stomach while calling her desperate and insecure. As it currently seems, Haley picked that moment to have her cramps. It looks like she got the sympathy out of Bill she was hoping for. He told Danny she couldn't just come walk in with a damn pie after putting his baby in jeopardy. Danny reverted to her now probably true stance that Haley was faking and hinted that she might have poisoned the sweet potatoes. Hey! She could have done a terrible awful to her pastry, like in The Help. Later, Pamela sighed that her and Danny simply using their extensive connections in the modeling industry to get their agency off the ground wasn't doing it. They needed a bonanza. So Pammy suggested that Danny do the modeling herself. Danny wasn't about it, thinking she was too, "Yes, Pam, we don't use that word. That a personal motto of mine." But Danny at least agreed to consider it. You guys want to see Danny on the runway? We may not see the articulates on stage, because after weeks of off-screen rehearsals in the Windy City, there was plenty of hot air to go around in their one scene. Anita felt their choreography was flat and dated, so she wanted to bring someone in to teach them slicker moves, and Sharon pitched a fit, with Tracy not far behind. Anita was just controlling them again, like she had back in the day. They accused Anita of telling them what to do instead of discussing it with them, when Anita had called them together to have a discussion about it. Sure, maybe La Dupree should have phrased it more as a, "How about we do this?" instead of, "I think we should do this." But I felt like there were overreactions all the way around. Not only did Tracy and Sharon pop off, but Anita outdid them by accusing them of spending her money and then dropping out of the show, and they could just do what they wanted without her. I thought Ashley had earned the title of biggest baby, but these divas all bypassed her by fathoms. I know things are charged given their past of Anita running roughshod over the others and bailing on them, but can they stop going to that well? They're supposed to have gotten past the ill will of the old days, or they're at least supposed to be professional enough to not let their pettiness endanger their show. Be divas in someone else's hotel room, please. Back in the DMV, I'm jazzed to see same-sex relationship representation on this show. But I don't know that Chelsea's romantic travails needed to take up large chunks of 2 episodes this week. First, Allison was back. Why, I don't know. Isn't the real story in Chelsea moving on too fast, and Madison clearly having some sort of agenda? Allison may have dissed Chelsea because of pressure from Craig, but the Chattison pairing isn't strong enough yet to be bringing an interloper in. Plus, Allison just gets more stalker by the minute. No matter how much Chelsea told her that she liked what she had with Madison, Allison only became increasingly desperate. Not to minimize Craig's alleged abuse, but running to anyone else, Allie, would only be an easy fix. On Friday, Madison and Chelsea had another long getting-to-know at Uptown, which I felt was too stretched out. Chelsea finally did notice that Madison had once again turned the conversation to her without divulging much about herself. Madison's motives are what interest me here. But lo, the ladies spied Allison spying on them. I'm telling ya, there's gonna be some rabbits boiling soon, and not on the menus of any of our fictional establishments. Vernon was shocked when Danny suddenly asked him if something was wrong with Martin as they breakfasted. Of course, Vernon downplayed it, but Danny couldn't help but notice how on edge Martin had been during Anita's stopover, and that her nephew had stolen away for a secret confab with the patriarch. Danny seemed like she wanted to get to the bottom of it, but will that go anywhere? After all, weren't Jacob and Naomi supposed to confront Vern with their own questions about why Martin seemed so spooked by Marcel? Gates is generally good about picking up the storyline breadcrumbs they drop, but they do occasionally miss a few. Meanwhile, Smitty found out that Vernon had testified in an investigation against Marcel, on Marcel's behalf, and his radar went into overdrive. Smits, who really needs to stop going to the station over and over where he can be seen by Elon and Marcel, dropped in to give the latest to Jacob, but found Elon instead. So the reporter pitched his questions to the police chief instead, and of course got nowhere. Elon was cheesed that Jacob kept talking to Smitty, and Soft ordered his son not to do that anymore. Meanwhile, Martin came home wanting to know what Smitty was so hyped up about. So Smitty took a page out of Martin's book and totally deflected. He even took advantage of Tyrell's arrival to throw Smarty Marty off the scent. Good. Martin deserves it after pivoting every time Smitty tries to have a serious conversation with him. I hope Smitty ends up divorcing his ass. He's entitled to a better marriage than he's getting. Kenneth had quite the journey this week. Randy was tasked with turning the guy into fish food, but instead, he seemed like he pulled a Snow White. Remember when the huntsman in that fairy tale was supposed to get Snow's heart and bring it back to the evil queen to prove she was dead, only to fake her out with an animal heart and let Snow go? Kenneth appears to have gotten a similar break from the reluctant Randy. Either that, or Randy's claim that his gun jammed while trying to get a second shot off at Kenneth was really true, and that's how Kenneth got away. Regardless, Randy came back to the casino and told Joey that Kenneth was dead. It was just that there might have been a witness. Joey decided Randy was going to Disneyland. But he soon found out that Randy had Mickey Moused with his finances. Armstrong counted the cash used to punk Kenneth and saw that 10,000 of it was missing, at which point Joey had Marcel find Randy and bring him back to the Lakeview at gunpoint. Randy made his explanations, but Joey was about to have Marcel whack the guy when the McBrides rushed in to save the day. Doug had already gotten Randy out of a sticky situation at the casino and brought him to Uptown, where he and Vanessa heard how terrified Randy was of Joey. On the heels of that, the Macy's followed Randy and saw Marcel threatening bullets. So together, the strained couple came together to help their friend. And wow, for a flighty, oversexed cheat, Vanessa sure has some balls when the chips are down. She looked Joey dead in his eye and said she and Doug were taking custody of Randy, promising him that Randy would disappear, just not as a corpse as Joey had been planning. Either that, or Vanessa would kill her shady dealings with Joey and have her milkshake leave the yard. Joey tried to pull that whole misogynistic handle your woman thing with Doug, but Van had all the men in the rue cowed. I've got to hand it to her. And Joey did too, because despite his later private bluster to Vanessa about her staying out of his business from then on, he had to admit that she drove him crazy. Which we know, since he'd just fantasized about their second poker table encounter. Things happened in threes, I guess, because they ended up getting it on once again. Who knew? Joey can't resist a strong woman. Seemingly randomly, June ended up in the hospital again, this time because she'd been beaten on the street. Naomi saw her clutching her beloved photo and called a phone number on it, only to get hung up on. But my question is this: was it random? Randy could have been telling the truth about someone witnessing his interaction with Kenneth, and June could have been in the wrong place at the wrong time. After all, June didn't need medical attention again for Naomi to notice that phone number. Didn't Martin get a surprise when he came home and found Tyrell talking to his chess buddy? Kenneth, jammed gun, mercy escape, or whatever. Kenneth was alive and not happy that he'd been lured to the casino with the promise of a payoff, only to receive an invitation to a funeral. His. Martin barely held it together as Kenneth introduced himself as if they hadn't discussed the color of money before. Tyrell felt embarrassed as Martin got Kenneth out of the condo faster than an errant spider, but Martin had the new chess enthusiast meet him at Orphe Jean's, where he swore he didn't know about the plan for Kenneth to bite the dust. That didn't matter to the now out-of-work busboy, who upped his take to $200,000 for the murder attempt and reminded Martin how easy it was for him to get to his family. Martin raced home and put Tyrell and Samantha on the lockdown, only saying that his being a congressman, not to mention a black, gay one, sometimes placed a target on his back and on the families. "We get it," the teens told their pop, but they didn't really. They whined about having to stay home and felt like Martin was overreacting, as usual. Did these kids leave their intelligence locked up at school for the summer? They were adopted by Martin and Smitty a decade ago, and surely it's not the first time Congressman Richardson has been threatened, especially in today's climate. Yet Samantha and Tyrell cried that Daddy was being unfair. They're usually savvy, but somehow they acted like they'd never had to be put under watch before, with Martin running to Bill to let him know that Kenneth was running around alive, and Bill demanding that Joey fix this now. I can't help wondering how this unexpectedly inefficient group of rogue vigilantes are going to deal with the guy, especially since he seems to know more real-life chess moves than Tyrell knows on board ones. However, shall we neutralize Kenneth now? As I mentioned earlier, if Smitty would just stop coming by the station and meet Jacob in some secluded area, maybe Elon and Marcel wouldn't keep going on alert. Smitty emphasized that he needed to hit pay dirt with his investigation, with Marcel hearing the part about dirt that he asked Smitty about. Mr. Smith not very subtly launched Shed into some karaoke duel with Jacob and the fam, but Malone couldn't have bought it. The skirmish did inspire Marcel to go into a song and dance about the deposits he'd made that Smitty was looking into. And while Malone's explanations seemed plausible, I can only hope Jacob didn't fall for them. Smitty thought they were awfully convenient and intuited that, especially with Vernon involved, there had to be a hell of a lot more going on than just some funny-looking cash stuffed into Marcel's bank. I like that Smitty is going full gangbusters into this. It's a lot more intriguing than watching him do laundry. Jacob was on the same page with Smitty in terms of feeling that something huge and weird was going on. But it was in further discussion with the reporter then Jacob suddenly had a flashback of his own. He remembered it because it was the night of his detective exam, and because it was the same night that Martin had come home all freaked out. In his recollection, Jacob saw a plainclothes Elon getting the hell out of the station,